If you're visiting the Vatican just to check off a crowded checklist, rushed and shoulder to shoulder with thousands of hurried tourists, you are missing the true beating heart of this holy enclave. As someone who seeks out the slow, immersive journeys where history, art, and architecture whisper their deepest secrets, I want to show you a different Vatican. By the end of this journey, you'll not only know how to navigate these sacred halls with the ease and comfort of a seasoned traveler, but you'll also see the hidden rebellious codes that the Renaissance masters carved into the very stone and plaster around you. Our journey begins in 1507. Pope Julius II, the fiercely ambitious warrior pope who reconquered rebel cities at the head of his own army, refused to live in the apartments of his detested predecessor, Alexander VI Borgia. Instead, he commissioned a prestigious team of artists to decorate a brand new suite. Among them was a young, inexperienced 26-year-old named Raphael. Initially hired to join a collaborative team, Raphael's brilliant brushwork so captivated the Pope that he soon dismissed all other artists, leaving the young master in sole command of the project. As Raphael painted his masterpiece, The School of Athens, in the room of the Segnatura, his fierce rival Michelangelo was just next door, locked in the Sistine Chapel. When papal architect Bramante secretly let Raphael in to see Michelangelo's unfinished, awe-inspiring ceiling, Raphael was so humbled and inspired that he immediately went back to his own canvas. He added a late tribute to his brooding rival, the solitary philosopher Heraclitus, painted with the distinct, melancholic face of Michelangelo himself. Michelangelo never wanted to paint the Sistine ceiling. He considered himself a sculptor, not a painter, and suspected Bramante had set him up to fail. But the Pope was unyielding. The contract was signed in May 1508 after a massive structural crack had made the chapel unusable and cleared the old painted starry sky. Forget the popular myth of Michelangelo painting comfortably on his back. He painted standing up in agonizing discomfort. He described the physical torment in a satirical poem to his friend Giovanni, his neck bent backward, his beard pointing to heaven, and paint continuously dripping onto his face like a rich embroidery. Yet, out of this immense suffering came unprecedented genius. Look closely at the iconic creation of Adam. Notice the precise 19-millimeter gap between the fingers of God and Adam. In the sophisticated language of Renaissance Neoplatonism, that tiny void represents the eternal, agonizing separation between mortal man and divine perfection. Over 20 years after completing the ceiling, Michelangelo returned to the chapel in a very different psychological state. It was 1534, the Protestant Reformation had fractured Europe, and Michelangelo's own faith was undergoing a deep, agonizing crisis of conscience. On the altar wall, he painted the Last Judgment. Unlike traditional, reassuring medieval depictions, Michelangelo's masterpiece is a tempest of psychological despair. He broke all artistic conventions, refusing to cleanly separate the saved from the damned, giving both the same worried, uncertain expressions. In a startling act of raw vulnerability, he painted his own self-portrait on the empty flayed skin held by St. Bartholomew. The saint's face is modeled after Pietro Aretino, a powerful, notoriously corrupt gossip columnist who had tried to extort a drawing from Michelangelo. Michelangelo's response was a lasting visual revenge, casting himself as the flayed martyr, victims of the world's greed. And for the Pope's master of ceremonies, Biagio da Cesena, who had loudly protested the nudity in the fresco, Michelangelo painted him in the lower right corner as Minos, with donkey ears. Leaving the chapel, we step into the grandest cathedral on earth, St. Peter's Basilica. The late Renaissance and Baroque details are overwhelming. On the right, Michelangelo's exquisite Pietà sits behind protective, bulletproof glass, a precaution kept ever since a tragic hammer attack in 1572. In the center, Bernini's colossal bronze baldachin rises beneath the towering dome, cast entirely from ancient bronze stripped from the portico of the Pantheon. But look out into the square. The towering 300-ton Egyptian obelisk has stood here since 1586, moved by Sixtus V. During its relocation, the Pope ordered absolute silence. But as the heavy ropes began to friction and smoke, a brave sailor named Brescia broke the decree, shouting, "Aqua alla cord, water the ropes." The Pope pardoned him, and in gratitude, Brescia's hometown was granted the historic privilege of supplying the Vatican's palms for Palm Sunday. Now let us discuss how to experience this monumental space with the slow, leisurely comfort it deserves. If you are a senior traveler or value saving energy, a few secrets are essential. First, understand the layout. St. Peter's Basilica and the Vatican museums are on completely opposite sides. Independent travelers must walk a tiring 1-kilometer journey around the wall. For the dome climb, do not exhaust yourself on the stairs. The elevator option saves you the first 231 steps, taking you comfortably to the roof terrace. While the final steps to the top are compulsory, you can easily choose to skip that. The view from the flat roof terrace is already spectacular, and you can enjoy a quiet cup of coffee right on top of the Basilica. Inside the Vatican museums, take advantage of the dedicated seating and rest areas scattered along the route. Pack a refillable water bottle and remember to strictly cover your knees and shoulders to avoid being turned away at the door. To truly bypass the physical strain of double queuing, there is one ultimate travel secret. Guided combo tours are granted exclusive access to the private Scala del Sacramento, a connecting passage leading directly from the Sistine Chapel into St. Peter's Basilica, saving you an hour of walking and security lines. If you found these slow travel insights valuable, please share your own Vatican experiences in the comments and like and subscribe. Check out the links in the description below to pre-book a curated tour. Until next time, travel deeply.